I'm president of this board this year, and we have a very difficult decision to make. It's been hard, and it hasn't been popular. And in fact, it's been unpopular. We touched a nerve out there in the community, and I really want to express my appreciation for the community to come out and for the students to come out and fight for what they believe is right. But let me tell you something about my story. You know, I grew up in East Los Angeles. I went to schools in East LA. I was trapped in those days. I was in a position where I couldn't take any math, I couldn't take any English because I was trapped to take vocational ed programs. I took metal shop, wood shop, electrical shop. I even took a food service, home economics class because I was directed to those classes. I didn't have a choice, I didn't have an option. But I want to say that we had an icon in the Latino Chicano community who died not too long ago, Sal Castro. Sal Castro recognized that back in the day. He knew that our students, our Latino students and minority students, could do a lot more than just vocational classes. He knew that we could do math. He knew that we could do English. He knew that if we were able to get away from being directed into those classes, that we would succeed. And because of his efforts in the walkouts, I participated in the walkout. My school walked out. We had a change in education and a change in the school board in LA, where Chicano students would now be able to enroll into English classes, and Spanish, and math classes, and pursue a college education. To this day, I still even hear, and sometimes it irks me that I hear people who say, well, not all students are made to be college students. BS. Every student who wants to pursue a college education can and should, and not be directed to say that he is going to be in a vocational class. Because even in vocational classes, which reminds me of another icon of the Latino movement, Chicano movement back in the day, Jaime Escalante, you all know his name, by Stand and Deliver. He said, anybody and everybody can be a technician, but those individuals who know how to read, who know how to write, and know how to add can be the boss. All you need is ganas, the will, the wanting to. And it still works to this day when I go to my body shop or I go to my mechanic, they say, I wish I would have gone to school. I said, well, you can and you should have and you did, and you learned a trade. But they're good technicians. But if you really want to be the boss, you still need to take the math, you still need to take the English, and you still need to take all those other courses to round out your education. It's not only about vocational ed, it's about education, period, everything. That's what it's about. Now, why am I so emotional about this? Because I was one of those students that wanted to be directed into voc ed. And if it wasn't for an icon like Sal Castro to fight for me, to fight for my ability to go into enroll in classes and eventually end up in a university, it wouldn't happen. And what we have here is these programs are failing our students. They're expensive, people are getting salaries and not producing anything. 83 certificates and diplomas when you had 2,500 students go through these programs. That's it. That's a shame. Not something needs to be done. And what ends up happening here is that, everything that you've heard, all the aspersions have been thrown at this board, all these actions have been thrown at us, all these misinformation, all this misinterpretation of data and facts to just make a point, to just embarrass and throw aspersions at this board are false, because there's only one agenda. And that's the agenda, just to embarrass this board for what we need to do, because what we do is the right thing to do. Because you might not consider that what we're doing is for your benefit and for the benefit of students. It actually is. Because there's a lot more to vocational ed than just know how to cut wood or cut sheet metal. There's other things as well. There's English, there's math, there's reading, and there's writing. Those classes need to continue, and I hope that you students who are here would also think about enrolling in those classes, because if you complete those educational courses, you will be the boss. All you need are the ganas.
respond to what was said there, because this raises yet another issue of a concern that I have, both in terms of the future of vocational ed programs here and in the entire community college system anywhere here in California. And it touches also on my background as a K through 12 teacher about what is hurting education at the K through 12 level so badly is the backlash against the very legitimate point that my colleague brought up about something that was just absolutely horrible a generation ago, about the automatically tracking people based on the color of their skin into certain programs, saying, well, they can't do academic programs. This is the kind of stuff that they're right for based on race. And I understand the frustration with that, but I think in the 30, 40 years since then, and I've seen it happen in my profession, we've responded to that by taking this, and it's not just Trustee Young, it's the entire education system. We've acted like, well, that means that vocational ed programs in general are something that we need to shy away from. And the idea that everyone needs to be prepared for a four-year college. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people who want to do these programs being directed. What's wrong with it is what Trustee Uronga said. What was wrong with it is that we just assume, based on the color of their skin, this is what these people are going to, what these people are right for this kind of job. And we've now, but now, and the other damage it's doing, and I see it happen, is the K through 12 system is based on this assumption that 100% of all students are going to go to a four-year college. And because less than 100% of all students are successful, that's why our public schools are failing. That's why we need vouchers. That's why we need to get rid of teacher tenure. That's why we need to put in place all of these things that I've personally experienced, that if you fire all the teachers, things are going to get better, where we can get into a system where 100% are going to go to a four-year college and nobody will have to be in some lowly vocational ed program. I mean, it's ridiculous. So it's not that I am unsympathetic to the concern that Trustee Uronga raised. It is a very legitimate concern, but we have in the generation following misinterpreted the injustice, and we've gone in another harmful direction, and I don't think this is manifest.